I always switch my camera. Boom, there we go. Wonder if it'll. Oh, really? I have to do it like this? Fuck it. Alright. Still waiting for my mic, but if anybody hasn't gotten a raffle ticket, they're free. Get one and then take the part and put it in the bucket. You might win something too.
I didn't do it. Who sweet boy.
Any reason you want to mute it?
Test. You probably should test.
Yeah, yeah.
Go with the retail.
All right, go ahead. Check it out.
Test. Test.
No, just keep your face normal like you would. No, not up now. Just
Check. 1, 2. Balls.
How's he sound, guys?
Do I sound sexy?
Good.
Voice of radio.
I'm not muted, right? Yeah, I'm not muted. Okay. Am I loud enough? For anybody who does not have a raffle ticket, get you one. You're gonna win big. Yeah, rip it off and put the ticket in the bucket.
Yeah, I got you.
We're also live on YouTube. That way I don't have to record this and edit it. It's just straight to YouTube. For those of you watching on YouTube, please share the video. And for you guys watching, don't look at your phone. We'll wait for just a few more people. What's up? Louder? I think they could turn up the mic a little bit too. Richard's right there. He knows how to do it. You got a raffle ticket? Get you one. Just rip it off, put the ticket in the bucket, please. Let's hope that my camera stays on during the whole thing. It likes to get hot, and it's charging. We'll see how it goes. If not, we'll just have you come closer and look at what I'm doing. Is up a little louder? We'll wait 2 more minutes and we'll get started here. I'm gonna hit this real quick. All right. Everybody have a raffle ticket? Well, I'm going to get things rolling here. We're Sundown Audio. Most of you guys know who we are. I assume that most of you are dealers, or you own a shop, or you're installers, and you're here because you're interested in learning how to recone, right? Reconing subwoofers is a very lucrative thing you can, like a service you can offer to your customers, and you can make a couple $100 within 15, 30, 45 minutes, just depending on how fast you go. And once you get it down, it could be a service to make your company can make a decent amount of money there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some raffle tickets. For the numbers that I pull, you're going to help me recone these woofers. Is everybody cool with that? And then because you've helped me with that, and because I don't feel like shipping these back to North Carolina, you can take them home with you. How's that sound? Hey Travis, come here. We don't want to be biased. I want you to pull these tickets.
I only have 4 of them.
4 of them are yours?
I got 24, 85, 20.
24, 85, 20. Look at you right up front. Look at that. Come on up. The price is right. One more, please.
24, 85, 47.
Look at that. 24. All right. Keep your tickets because there's more after this. All right. But wait, there's more. All right. You guys pick whichever side you want. Are you ready for this? Have you ever reconed a subwoofer before? Yeah. Well then, all right, cool. How about yourself? It's been 15 years? All right, so it's a refresher course. This is Michael and this is Joey.
Yeah, well, my real name's Lauren, but everybody knows.
Joey and Michael, give them a round of applause. All right, let's get started. So first and foremost, this woofer that we have up here is an X version 3 15. This is the most current model that we offer on the market at the moment. All right. As a shop, you should, and if you're a dealer of Sundown products, you should be able to know how to rebuild this woofer to make some money for your, well, first off, so you can offer that service to your customer and get it done and get the customer in and out fast, right? You don't want to have to ship this to us, and we'll recone it for you, but that takes like 2 weeks to get it to us, spend all that money, all that shipping costs, and get the woofer back, and then you install the woofer back in your customer's vehicle, and it's a mess and the customers get pissy and you guys know how it is. So if you can purchase this recone kit from us for, this one's 150 bucks, right? This recone kit, dealer costs $150. You can purchase this, we'll have it to you within generally 3-4 days, because we just make these as the orders come in. And you can have your customer's vehicle in and out in probably a week maybe. It's a whole lot better than 2 to 3 weeks, and then all the extra cost in shipping, right? So check this out. You buy this for 150 bucks, and then you can charge the customer, well, we charge your customers, if they send it to us, $300 plus shipping. So you just made 150 bucks, and you can tack a little bit extra on if you wanted to, and add materials, costs, and this, that, and the other. And that's what, $150, and however long it's going to take us to rebuild these woofers. So that's quick money. And I think if we can get our dealers to do this more often, and people stop sending stuff to us, then why not you guys make the money and us make not as much, right? You guys make the profit. That's what we're trying to do. We want our dealers to be able to offer the services to their customers and leave us out of it. We'll just make your recone kit. Go have some fun. Because most people know that when they need a recone kit, it's not a warranty situation. Now, obviously, you're going to send stuff to us if it's a warranty. You know, if there's something that's off-centered or there's a glue failure, we cover that stuff under warranty. And yes, you will send it to us. But if the customer blew the coil, well then, in most cases, 99% of the time, they messed up. So you can offer this recone kit to them. Or the rebuild fee, I should say. So anyway, $150, $200 you guys can make in like a 30-minute period. I think that's well worth it. You guys think the same? All right, cool. So let's get started. Let me take a sip of this, because my mouth is dry. It's very dry in Vegas.
That part of the process?
Yeah. Take a sip of your drink first before you get started. That way, you know, you got cotton mouth while you're working. All right. So you give us a call, or you can email us, and you're going to order this recone kit from us. Now, this is just the kit. The kit comes with the cone, the spider, the coil, everything's soldered already. You don't have to do any soldering now. On almost every one of our woofers, you don't have to worry about soldering. If it's an older subwoofer, like let's say a ZV3 or an old SA Classic, yes, you will have to do some soldering, but we have new terminals that you can add to that woofer. You don't have to worry about soldering again. So that's one thing you don't have to worry about is soldering. All your leads are soldered on the inside, your glue's in there. You don't have to worry about that either. So you'll buy this. And then when you get this, you're gonna wanna check it with your multimeter. It's the first thing you do, make sure you got the right ohm load. Because if it's not the correct impedance, then you know somebody's not gonna be happy. Especially if you have two woofers in the same setup. One's a dual 4, one's a dual 2, well, one's gonna be moving a little different. So make sure you're at the correct impedance. On these particular woofers that we're doing, this is an X series. So for instance, this is what we call a dual 2 ohm model. This coil actually reads 1.4 per side. So it's not always going to be exactly 2 ohms or 1 ohm. The dual 1 actually reads a 0.7. So just, if you're not sure, give us a call. Our website does show TS parameters, so you can check with that. And they're always in series, by the way, so just half the number, okay? That'll give you what your impedance should be. So check your impedance with a multimeter. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna dry fit. So guys, grab these. You have a shim. Oh, by the way, we sell shims, okay? We'll talk more about shims here in a minute. Make sure it's down all the way. And we're gonna dry fit this. And when we dry fit it, we're gonna make sure that our terminals, or our leads are gonna line up with the terminals, okay? And we're gonna make sure that this center hole on all these, on the surround, is gonna line up with the hole for your screws, okay? So let's do that first. One thing you could do is you can kind of put this halfway on. It's a lot easier usually if you do it this way. Put that on halfway, and you just push down the center. Line up your holes over here. I forget I have a camera, sorry guys. I'm hoping the camera picks up most of what I'm doing, but if you're unsure about something, you always come back up and take a look. If you really need to, just put your eyes right here, guys. Yeah, make sure your holes are lined up. Make sure your leads line up with the terminals. And if you're good, then pull it back out. Before we go any further, we want to make sure that our positive terminal is on the left side of the subwoofer. When you're looking at it directly, make sure it's there. So if we're looking at the camera, red is always on the left. Every speaker that we make, positive's on the left when you're looking directly at it. Make sure your terminals are tight. Are your terminals tight? Don't go too hard, man. You're gonna break it. There's a 7mm nut on top. If you're not tight, just make sure they're tight. 7mm screw or socket will get that tightened right up. You can use Loctite if you need to. If that's all good to go, then we're gonna start doing things. Now, I've already taken care of your guys' woofer. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna jump all over the place here. Before you even do anything with this, you gotta make sure your woofer's ready for it, right? Yeah. Mask, goggles, fan, outside. Because this glue, when you grind it off, yeah. It's like somebody sprayed you with mace. It's pretty rough. Have any of you guys out here ever recone a woofer and had to grind a woofer? So we use CA glue at our facility. Now, not all facilities do use CA glue, which is this right here. CA glue, when you grind it, it is toxic. So make sure you're wearing protection. Make sure you have really good ventilation, because you will literally cry. It's that bad. And that's only on the spider landing, by the way. The top landing is usually an E6000 type of glue or some type of a 2-part epoxy. That's usually not that bad. Anyway, you're gonna grind these off, both of these landings, the spider landing and the surround landing. You don't have to go to bare metal, but you at least need to have a good gouge in there. That way the next time you put your recone kit in there, the glue's gonna adhere to it. So bare metal is great. If not, if you don't have a grinder and you just have a big piece of sandpaper, just make sure you have some good gouges in there, something for that glue to adhere to, all right? When you're done getting that, when you're done sanding, you wanna look down the gap and you're gonna blow it out. Make sure there's no junk in there. Sometimes you get pieces of coil stuck in your gap. Your gaps are a little dirty, don't worry, okay? My guys, when they sanded this at the shop, they didn't blow the paint out of the gap. It's okay. Sometimes you'll have pieces of coil stuck in there, so you have to get pick tools and put it on its side and blow them out. Just make. What's that? Yeah. Yeah, non-ferrous. Yeah, we have brass ones where we are. So, yeah, you just get in there and blow them out. Make sure they're clean, because once you put that recone kit in there, there's no cleaning that gap out afterwards. So make sure it's all clean. Wipe these with alcohol. I did that this morning for you guys. You don't have to do that. Just wipe your landings with alcohol. Make sure they're super clean, and then you'll be ready for your recone kit. So let's go ahead and put our shim. Well, I'm going to put mine halfway on mine and drop it in. We did our dry fit. There's not really a lot of tools involved when you get a recone kit from us. You really only need some little Allens, and actually both of these are the same size, which are the screws for the gasket ring and for the terminals. I think it's to correct me if I'm wrong, it might be a 3mm, but let's see what this is. Yeah, 3mm. So that's the only size you need. Now, I use a T-handle on the top, or I use my drill, but you don't want to do too many ugga-duggas, so just be careful there. And then I use a little socket wrench just to get into this area right here. The 10 and 12-inch model are a little harder. Let me explain that to you before we go on. This The reason why I'm showing you a 15 because it's the easiest one, because on the 15-inch model, your terminals are right here in between the spokes. But the 10 and 12-inch model and the 18 as well, they're actually in the spoke right below. Okay. What you would do in a case like that, and I'll show you when we get to there. You're always going to do your spider first. You never do your both glue landings at the same time. When it comes time to do your surround landing, you're going to pause a minute and you're going to take care of your terminals here. I'll explain that once we drop this in, okay? You guys ready? Gloves on. Now, I didn't bring any goggles for you guys, but I think we're all good, right? Yeah. Just don't go squirting glue all over your place. You'll be all right. Oh, I forgot to mention, I want to thank the management. I know they're not here standing looking at me right now, but in general, I want to thank the management that handles Knowledgefest. When I got here this morning, all I had was chairs. There was none of these tables, no monitor, no projector, no sound system. I had nothing, and I guess they thought I did. They thought I brought it, and I didn't. So thank God they helped me get this shit set up before you guys came here today. All right. So this is CA glue. This stuff is nasty. It is not fun to be around. It smells, it's toxic, and just be careful with it. You don't have to use a lot of this stuff, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna get this recone kit ready to drop in. So see how I just put that on like halfway or just like maybe a third of the way? It's so much easier to do this that way. You can do whatever you're comfortable with. This is how I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna let that chill like that, right? If you don't have a shim, because we sell the shim specific to the subwoofers, if you don't have that shim, you can use paper, just regular printer paper. I like the stuff, remember back in school, the projector screen the teacher would write on those little see-through things? That, whatever, I don't know what that's, that plastic stuff, right? That shit works really good. So use that if you can. If you don't want to purchase the shim. And for odd size subwoofers, like we don't make shims for every woofer, or should I say we don't sell shims for every subwoofer. Like some of the smaller stuff, we just don't do that. So paper or plastic of some sort. Do not use cardboard, in my opinion. Don't use cardboard. It's too straight and it doesn't like do a good enough curve, in my opinion. If you're going to use paper, you shove your paper in your gap, use however many pieces you feel you need, and that needs to be a fairly tight fit. You don't want your paper to overlap. You want it to almost come to where it's going to touch, but not all the way, okay? You don't want a huge gap either, because then it'll be off to one side. All right, so get your glue, guys. And before you do it, come watch me, okay? I want you to see how much I'm gonna put here. And hopefully we can see it on the camera. I'm not left-handed, that's gonna be weird. So, we'll just do it like this. It's weird, but, all right. It's not a lot of glue, but it's enough. We'll also talk about alternative glues here in a second. We like CA glue because it seeps into the spider and creates a bond on the metal and the spider. You gotta just a little bit of time to work with this, all right? Drop that in, make sure it's lined up. And since you know that your top holes line up, you don't even have to look down. Just go ahead and drop it in just like that, okay? Now, don't do it yet. Did you already drop some in? Okay. What you want to do is kind of hold the center in to create a little bit of pressure down, because you don't want your spider to, if your spider is kind of like this, you want to make sure it's pressed down all the way. you're going to hit it with your accelerator while you're pushing down just a little bit. Don't push too hard. Take a little look. Make sure it's all centered. And you're going to spray a generous amount of accelerator. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. You just kind of easily go around it. And I'm just going to sit there and hold that for just about a minute, and then I should be good. You guys can do that. If you're comfortable and you're ready to do it, go for it. Yes, you can put a lot of glue on, it's okay, but it's not needed. And then it oozes out and looks weird. That should be good. That's looking good. Good job. Good. Perfect. This is the only part of reconing that you have to be fast about. Otherwise, that glue's going to kick off, and you're not going to get it. It's not going to adhere for you. I'm going to take a look at mine just to make sure it looks good.
Any preference to this over the aerosol implement?
You can use the aerosol. Whatever works with the CA glue you're used to. We make this. This is our own chemical combination. We don't give it out to anybody. No, you cannot purchase it from us. So let's talk about glues since we're on that subject. There's a few really good companies out there that make CA glue. The one that I usually suggest to people is a company called Starbond. What's the name? I have not. Nope. Is it modeling? They use, yeah. So yeah, you can go to a craft store and use that. We like to use a medium thickness. It's usually a heavy duty CA glue. You need something that's got an extreme bond to it because your parts are moving, right? So we usually go with black, but you can use whatever color you want. Black just kind of works with our subwoofers. And then you always want to get an accelerator if you're going to use CA glue. CA glue will dry on its own, but you have to be careful because we don't know how long that's going to take. So this stuff is immediate. Like I can now try to pull that off and it's got a bond, right? So that's what we do with the CA glue. If you don't want to buy this type of glue, because this stuff is expensive, and let's say you just need it for one job, you can go to your local hardware store and use something called Loctite 5-minute epoxy. That stuff works pretty good. It's not as good as CA glue. It's a 2-part epoxy. You got 5 minutes to work with it, and it'll do the job. I'm not a huge fan of it because it doesn't seep into that spider like the CA glue does, but you really only need that on these big mega roll subwoofers. If you're doing, let's say for instance you're doing an SA12 or SA Classic or something like that, the Loctite stuff works really good. It's quite expensive, but you would only need one little tube to do your maybe a couple subwoofers, and you're good to go. So that's the only time we're going to use CA glue on our subwoofer. Now let's get to the terminals. Let me see if I can. There we go. I keep forgetting I got a camera going on here. So if you want to, you can take your glove off. I'm going to, but this stuff is messy, and that'll be the next step after the terminals. I have more gloves if you want to put them on, okay? They're just in a box over there. Is everybody lined up with their holes? Is everything looking good there? You're a little off there, buddy.
No, this one's pretty good though.
Oh, okay. It'll work. You're fine. If for some reason you do this and your holes don't line up, and you know, CA glue is going to make it permanent, right? Don't freak out. Take you a soldering iron, go up through your hole and make a new one, because the soldering iron will burn right through that surround material, and you just made a new hole. You're good. Or you can get in there with a knife and try to, scrape it out. I like to just use a soldering iron. It smells like hell, but it does the job. How are you looking over here? So your holes, I should have watched you do this. I'm sorry. You actually cocked yours over 1 notch. if you take a look, check this out. See how they're not lined up? So his, I can't show you on a camera. Actually, if you look right here, and this is okay. This happens. So we do have 3 holes, and I'm not going to explain why, but he didn't go to the center hole. He went to the side hole, which means everything got turned 1 inch this way. But luckily for him, we make the leads long enough to where that's okay. So his leads are just going to be, instead of straight, they're going to be like this. Good job, man. Yeah. Michael Customs. All right, so let's take a look at this bag I got you right here. These are M4 bolts, and they use that 3mm Allen. And there's a screw or a bolt, whatever you want to call it, and then there is a lock washer. So I'm gonna take those out. There should be 4 of them. If there's not 4, let me know. And I'm going to put my lock washers on them. And they are small. And what I suggest not doing is doing this right next to the motor, because it'll all go straight to the motor there. He's over here trying to show me how to do it. All right, when we put these on, we are going, and again, you can use this little socket drive right here, or what you would do in the 10 and 12 inch models and the 18. Let me show you this before you guys get on it too much. Since everything's already glued in on that side and your shim's in, don't, by the way, never take your shim out until you're done with the woofer, until it's time to put the dust cap on. You can pry this whole thing up like this, right? That you're gonna have to do this on the 10 and 12 inch model. Because in the 10 and 12 inch model, like I was telling you earlier, this terminal is in the spoke. So you'll have to get down in there with your tool to tighten up those screws. On this model, it doesn't matter. I just like to use this little guy right here and just go to the side. So I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to screw these on. Does anybody have any questions while I'm doing this? Or anything that you think I missed? Sweet, that means I'm doing my job. By the way, when you put these on, it's kind of hard to show on the camera here. I like to put them on a bit of a 45-degree angle. You can go straight if you want, you can go on an angle. It kind of depends on the woofer, and it also depends on how long your terminals or your leads are. But a good 45 works. That's generally how our production team does it at work. You did both? Well, you kind of have to do both over there. So I'll do these by hand first, and then I'll get in here and tighten it up with my my socket drive. What's that? Man, just wait. You're here. This guy over here knows what he's doing. I personally am not the fastest at doing this. So our pricing, for instance, this particular woofer is, if somebody sends it to us, they pay the shipping to us, which on a 70-pound woofer can be up to like $100. They pay to ship it to us, and then we charge them $300, and that covers the shipping back to them. But you're looking, again, to ship this woofer to us, it's pretty expensive. A recone kit only costs, well, actually, when we sell the recone kits, they're a shipped price. So $150 on the dealer side is pretty cheap compared to how much it would cost retail, you know? I'm almost done here. Remember you're talking.
You go back and glue this quick turn to around the spider.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that because I meant to talk about that. So when you purchase this woofer from us, from the factory, this particular woofer can get built in two different places, either at our facility in North Carolina or our factory overseas. Now, if you get this woofer built in North Carolina, it's going to look exactly how that looks right now. We do not do a backfill on the top of that spider, unless you ask for it. We will do it if you ask, and that's usually done with a two-part epoxy. If it's built overseas at our factory there, they actually put these little metal clips in as an added security, and then they also backfill. They generally do some backfill on top of that. We make them do that because we're not sure how their glue is going to be that day. It's just an added security, you know? Just like this metal ring we're going to talk about later, we glue and screw the surround down. It's just a secondary security measure. So yes, you can backfill the top of that spider. It looks pretty. It costs a little bit more to do it. I would suggest a Loctite 5-minute epoxy. I would not use CA glue. That is way too much money to be using for aesthetics. This stuff right here, if you were to buy it, it's just one bottle, 16 ounces, 24 ounces. Yeah, it's like $100 a pound for that glue. So just use it sparingly, right? How are we looking on time here? Oh, we got plenty of time. All right, so let's go ahead and flip our surround up. Now, I've already wiped these down. Sometimes our surrounds have a release agent on them, so a little bit of alcohol, not a lot, on a microfiber towel, just kind of wipe them down, and you're good. I've already wiped yours down at the shop. They're probably a little dirty, but it's all right. Make sure everything's clean. Make sure your landing's clean. I wiped those down for you guys earlier. And we're going to use our E6000. You can use this glue. This is the cheapest, best glue to use for your surround. You can also use Loctite 5-minute epoxy or any type of silicone-based glue or two-part epoxy. That all works. This doesn't matter as much as that spider does. That spider's got way more tension on it. The surround does not. So E6000, you just take that top off there. Don't put it on just yet. Before you get on this, you want to make sure that your gasket's ready. You want to make sure you have your screws ready for the gasket. And we'll talk about these here in a minute. All right, everything looks good. So I want you guys to watch me do this real quick. Come on over here. I don't know if the camera's going to be able to pick this up. I'm not going to use a ton of this stuff. And when I put it down on the landing, I'm actually going to put it flat. I'm going to kind of push almost, not super hard, but I'm going to push. I'm not going to put it on an angle because that's going to bring out too much. You're not looking for a huge amount of glue. You want just enough, and you want it to be fairly flat. So I'm going to do it like this, and I'm going to go around. Let's see. I'm going to go around that hole. It's going to come through no matter what, but I'm going to try to prevent as much to go out that hole. So like that, you see that? Straight, around, straight, and so on and so forth. Not a ton of glue, just enough. You guys go ahead and give it a shot. So, yes, it has to be a perfect seal all around. You do not want any air to come through that surround. But like I was telling you guys earlier, we now do metal gaskets on our subwoofers. Some of the older woofers we don't, but now we use metal. This is going to clamp everything down. So it's like, yes, we have the glue, and yes, you're screwed in there. So you have double the security. E6000, you've got like 20 minutes to work with it. So you're before it starts even getting a glaze or a dryness to it. So I'm not like worried. It's not like C8 where I'm like, you gotta freak out and go quick about it. So flop that back down. Make sure guys, that the edge of your surround is actually pushed inside this lip right here, because there's a ledge. Before you do anything else, you just go down there with your finger. All right. Again, make sure that also that while you're doing this, you want to make sure that your shin stays down. Okay. So then we're going to get our gasket. We're going to line, there's two different holes. There's a small hole and a big hole. Your big hole lines up with the screw hole that goes through into the enclosure. The small hole lines up with the, and you might have an issue with this actually. Is yours good? Yeah, okay. He put,
I thought about that.
Yeah.
Not the 3 holes, I gotta get 2.
right. Yeah, line your big holes up, and then your little holes will line up right with it. These are just like the other screws. These are M4 bolts. I don't remember how long they are, but you can get these from us if you need to. And you'll use whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to use a T-handle at work when I'm building woofers, which I don't do much anymore. I like to use just my drill, you know. But you can overdo it, so just be careful. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Hold on, before you go any further, he's already done over here probably. Make your life easy, because if you put one screw in, it's gonna pop that up. So I suggest see how that popped up like that? You just get 2 clamps. It'll hold it down. That way you can tighten your screws up all the way. A cross pattern is the best way to do it, just like you're putting a wheel back on a vehicle. But we're not, the woofer's not spinning forever, you know? That's how I do it. That's why we have Lazy Susans, folks. Also, when it comes to the Lazy Susan, actually I didn't get that in the hole first. When it comes to the Lazy Susan, we do sell them. These Lazy Susans, the dust cap weights, the metal gaskets, we sell all that stuff. So if this is something you want to offer to your customers and you guys think you're going to actually do it fairly often in your shop, buy a Lazy Susan. It's like 30 bucks, totally worth it. You can make your own, and we made our own for many, many years, but we found a better way to make them, and they're more sturdy, and they do the job. So you got rubber in the way? Let's see what you got going on. You only got 1 screw in here? Here, pop that screw up. That's why we're doing it. How are you looking?
Set it off an inch to the wrong side, then it works perfect.
Yeah, if you do it wrong, it works better. Let's see what we got going on. Gotcha. Well, guess what? I got a knife. So what he did was his surround and the holes are shifted just enough to where the surround material is kind of in the way of that hole. So I'll give this to you if you want. But you can just take that and just cut it out a little bit if you want. And that's the cool thing about E6000. You have time to work with it. Like if you were using like a 5-minute epoxy, you got 5 minutes and you better get on your game. If you want, we could just keep going. If you want to just get a couple screws in, and we can finish this. We can finish it after the fact. I only put a couple screws in mine. It's boring to watch somebody, well, it's not always boring to watch somebody screw, but it's boring to watch people do this. I'll put another one in here. Actually, looks like I'm having this same issue. Actually, I think this particular one. Oh, I see what happened. I got to mess with mine too. There's junk in my hole. So let's go ahead and get to the next thing here. We're going to do the dust cap next. You want to just put one more in there? All right. How are you looking? Did you get all yours in? Good job. Right.
You got it wrong now.
So, my suggestion is, if you're doing this at your shop, and let's say you are using E6000, you might want to just wait a few minutes to do the next process, because the next process means to take the shim out. If you're taking the shim out, that means everything should be dry or settled where it needs to be. Now, yes, if this is clamped, everything's good, you should be able to do that, but for an added security, I suggest giving it a couple minutes, let your glue kind of do what it needs to do. So I'm going to pull my shim out. We don't need that anymore. And let's talk about dust caps. When you get your recone kit from us, it does come with a dust cap. It's usually not going to be sanded. Now, I sanded all your guys' dust caps before we came here, but just sandpaper in general. We like to use really low grit, like a 40 grit, to get some good gouges in there. That way the glue has something to adhere to. And before you go and you set this dust cap down and your glue down, you want to make sure that your landing for that dust cap is dry. Or not dry, I mean cleaned up, there's no dust in the way. How you looking over here? Don't worry about it, man. We'll mess with it when we're done here. Just, put these clamps on for now. That'll hold it. You're good. Here, I'll get. Oh, never mind. You're good. Pull the shim out. All right. It's dust cap time. I want you guys to come over here and watch how I do this. There's so many ways you can do this, but this is where it gets messy, and this is where doing it over and over, you get better at it, okay? I'm sure you guys both have done recone before, right? How did your dust cap look when you were done with it? It looked good? Perfect. How about yours? I've seen it not look good many times. What you get if you put too much glue in this seam right here, or too much glue in here, and you press it down, it goes like this, and it gets all over the place. It's okay if it does that. If it's E6000, it's okay if it does that. Don't touch it, okay? So if that glue comes out and it fills in that seam, don't touch it. Give it about 30 minutes. It won't be completely dry, but it'll be dry enough to where you can just pull it off. And usually it'll pull off right at that seam, and it'll look nice and clean. Now, obviously, if you try to do it immediately, it'll just spread everywhere. It'll look horrible. All right. So let's see how we do. I normally don't use these E6000 where I work. I usually use a 2-part epoxy. So we're gonna see how Brian does it, right? So, but check this out, guys. Come here real quick before you go any further. You're gonna put your glue in just like we did with that. It's gonna be flat on that surface. You don't have to put a lot on there because we're gonna do both there, and then we're gonna put it. Let me see if I can show it on the camera. We're gonna put it on the inside seam right here. So when you flip that dust cap over, it's then gonna fall down and touch the other glue that you already set down, and it'll bond together, and it'll create a super good bond. We're not gonna put it on this seam right here because you're already doing that on the woofer itself. We're gonna put it on the inside, that way it flows over. Let's give it a shot. Let's see if I can do it on camera here. Actually, I'm gonna do the inside of this first. So I'm gonna go flat, right in that seam. and it gets all over the place, as you can see. Then I'm going to do the inside of this. It doesn't have, you don't have to be uniform or perfect with this either. And when I have extra, I just dabbed on the inside like that. Can you see that? Yep. Before I flip this over, and before you guys put that dust cap on, and it's up to you if you want to do it this way, you have two terminals, right? One on each side, and you have a Sundown logo on this thing. I'm going to line up my logo with my terminals, so it's straight. That's how we do it. That works. So we're going to flip that down. We're going to put it in there. We're going to take a look at it and see how lined up that is. Mine looks pretty good. If we like how it is, sometimes you got to push it around and make it look good. How you looking there?
Good.
Let's see how lined up that is. Just a little turn. Like that. There you go. How you looking? Straight on? Yours is going to be crooked all over the place anyway. But all right, perfect. All right, you see this right here? This is a dust cap weight. You don't have to use this, but we suggest something around 5 to 10 pounds to put on top of that dust cap. And if you look, we sell these, by the way. This is 10 pounds exactly. It's got a there you go. Yeah, concave. And it's got a grip on it, so that way it doesn't slide all over the place. Go for it. And we're gonna put it right on top. And depending on which glue you use will determine how long it needs to sit there. So E6000, I usually suggest a half a day at the most before you pull this thing off. So 12 hours. 2-part epoxy, like if it's a 5-minute or a 10-minute, you got 5 minutes or 10 minutes and you're good to go. I still would not suggest playing this subwoofer for another 24 hours. Okay. Cool.
Glad you guys did this.
Thank you. So yeah, that's your dust cap weight. Set it, forget it, walk away. Don't go touching it, don't go, ooh, that's cool. It'll fall down and you'll have a rough time. So that's really it, guys. It's not that hard. So, thank you. No, thank you to Michael and Joey. Thank you to these guys. Guess what's cool with this? You guys get to take those woofers home. Those are yours. We're gonna fix you up, all right? Yeah, I got boxes. If we need to ship them, we can ship them. If you're driving, then take them home with you. No worries. I will say, you're gonna have to pay for the shipping, buddy.
All right,
Now we're good. We'll take care of it. Does anybody else have their raffle tickets? All right. Let me close up this glue real quick, and we'll get you fixed. Does anybody have any questions? Say that again. Get you a raffle ticket. The ones, you see how they're on the table? Just peel them off, put the ticket in the bucket. You want to? Go for it. Go get you some. So yeah, no questions. It's really not that hard. And the reason why I brought out this particular model is we're now using these metal gaskets. The metal gaskets are a little easier to work with. The rubber gaskets, if you're reusing your rubber gasket, you will have to use clamps. If you get a fresh rubber gasket from us, usually the gasket's enough to hold that surround down in most cases. But then you have to play with it and make sure everything's centered, right? It's always good to have clamps. These are what, $1 a piece at Harbor Freight? I think that's how much I paid for them. So, question? No. So the recone kit only, and I'm sorry, I didn't mention that before. Recone kit comes with the assembly itself and the dust cap. It does not come with a shim. It does not come with glue. It does not come with a gasket. But we sell all that stuff separate as well.
Just get all the old, like the DB4, DB5.
The metal gasket? So yes and no. This metal gasket will only work on the new platform stuff that just came out literally 4 months ago. You can convert your old one to a metal gasket if you'd like. However, you'll have to drill and tap for your bolts, your smaller bolts, because those holes are not there. Any more questions? Oh, most certainly. We're known for that. Yep. So we have carbon fiber dust caps. They're only like $30 extra. Carbon fiber cones are coming out this year. We finally were able to get them made on a mass scale and at the price point we wanted to, and it took us 6 years to make that happen. And the cool thing is, it doesn't add moving mass to your subwoofer. So it's the same weight, if not a little bit less than the cone that's already on here. It's stronger than that cone, and it fits the same curve and everything. And the surround will be stitched just like these. And that was one of our biggest issues is, yeah, you can get a carbon fiber cone, but you didn't have to glue your surround on it, and there's your weak point right there. So carbon fiber is strong as hell, right? But that weak point's going to be where that stitching is not at, and now they're going to be stitched. So yes, 6 months or a couple more months, and we'll have those in stock. And you can order any recone kit you want with that. It'll be U series on up through the X series into the Z. And we've always had the carbon fiber dust caps, so you can get those from. And on the note of custom, for instance, let's say this X series, let's say you're reconing an X series woofer and you want a black spider or a red spider, which means the X series uses our softest spider for the softest suspension. You can go up a notch to the black spider, which is used on the Z series, and that's a little bit stiffer. So if you want to raise your FS, you can do that. Or the red spider, which is used on the nightshades, you can use that too, and it raises the FS. It's $10 extra each time you do that.
Is the red only available for progressive?
No. So the nightshade spider is a linear spider. Yep, that's the red one. But we have an SPL spider as well, which is progressive, and it's going to be better for people doing burp competitions and stuff like that. So, are you guys good? Oh, you're not good. We'll get you straight. Don't worry. Any questions? Let's go ahead and I'm going to do a raffle again. I've got some stuff over here. Things that I don't feel like taking home. And this is what I'm going to do. I've got 3 Lazy Susans, 3 dust cap weights, and 3 just extra dust caps that for some reason I brought. And each raffle ticket's going to get one of those. But wait on the wait. Michael, I want you to pick one. And blur out that number. 248532. Look at you. You are going to get a Lazy Susan, a dust cap weight, and a dust cap. Just wait a minute. There you go. His woofer's still on it. We'll put that right here. That way we know that's his. Grab you one.
248527.
248527. Just chill there for a minute. You're going to get his Lazy Susan dust cap weight and extra dust cap. And I'm going to grab one here. It is 248543. You, sir, get my dust cap weight, Lazy Susan, and extra dust cap. Actually, I'm going to throw in the shims in there too. I'm sorry, guys. You're going to get a shim. And because I don't feel like shipping it home, 248531. You get my subwoofer. Look at you. Awesome. You're going to get, this is yours. Are you happy? Awesome. All right, guys, thank you very much for coming. Give a big round of applause to Michael and Joey. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, just come on up.
visit all of these just like Canada. Yeah. How you been? Doing good? Yeah. Are you, yeah. Are you still working for your Metro and everything, or no? So what are you doing now?
About a year ago.
Did you? Oh, I didn't know.
For what do you mean? February, March, April. Yeah, about a year ago.
Yeah. So what are you doing now?
For Crutchfield.
For Crutchfield? Okay.
National Sales.
Yeah. Liking it? How's it?
I like the job. I love the job. It's a really good job. But it's not my shop.
You're not the
Put it
boss
that
there.
way. There you go. I think that's a better way to put it.
Yeah, I would have a very tough time with somebody. I think. Maybe one day.
No, it's definitely not for me.
Yeah.
But it's a good experience. Learn a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of training.
So you're doing the international sales for them? Yeah. Different countries.
It's only Canada and the continental USA. That's the international. We do freight ship to other countries, but it goes to freight. It's not directly to them.
Okay.
It is very interesting. I have not fulfilled all my duties yet because they train you and then they release you. But because international has so many other departments going into one,
Yeah.
because of the bilingual part, then I have to go to separate trainings. They needed us on the sales floor for the holidays, and everything for Black Friday and all.
Yeah.
So they training for the sales part, for the reports, and now they got Black for the holiday, and then they're putting it on the back of them, and they're going to bring it for the international.
You guys done?
Just finished.
I gotta steal a chair. I got somebody that's had ankle surgery.
Take them.
Yeah, fucking ankle looks like it's about
We actually,
Take the chair.
What's going on?
Definitely.
You need help with anything?
I'm just gonna steal a chair.
Oh.
That's what
Oh,
this.
yeah, I bet. He's been on it.
I don't know how many of you are watching, but we just finished the recone seminar here at Knowledgefest 2024 in Vegas. So if you are in this area, we got today and we got tomorrow, and that's it for the show. Come check it out, guys. This place is really awesome, and it is like any brand that's worth a shit is here. Check it out. We're here obviously with Excess Power. I'm going to sign off. I got to go clean up my mess. All right, guys? Take care.